Hello guys, I hope you all are doing good. I am Vishaliki Khan and we are discussing the VLSI technology. In that, today we are going to start with a new topic, that is chemical vapor deposition and the dielectric thin films. A lot of you must be having doubt that we have already heard about this topic, chemical vapor deposition, previously as well. Now we are going to have the in-depth analysis of this topic, and with the help of some few video lectures that I am going to come up with, we are going to understand the chemical vapor deposition with a great detail. Till now we have just understood CVD with the basics only. We have not gone in detail analysis. Okay, we have just seen it in a brief analysis only. Okay, so the objectives of all these videos are to identify at least 4 CVD applications. Then we are going to see the CVD process sequence, and then we are going to list the 2 deposition regimes and their relation to the temperature. Okay, so we are going to see how the deposition regimes are related to the temperature. Then we are going to list the 2 dielectric thin films, and then we are going to name the 2 most commonly used silicon precursors for dielectric CVD. Okay, so now coming to a question that how CVD oxide is different from the grown oxide. So when we grow oxide on the silicon layer, this is how we will be having the grown oxide film. Okay, this is my bare silicon. So what will happen? The oxygen is coming in the vapor phase. The oxygen, the vapor or the gaseous phase is coming to the silicon surface. So when the oxygen in gaseous form is coming to the silicon surface, it is having a high affinity towards the silicon. It can react easily with the silicon to form the silicon dioxide. But in this process, silicon is getting consumed from the chip itself. We are using the silicon of the chip. If I have the epitaxial layer, the epitaxial layer is a very high quality layer, and if I want to grow the oxide layer over it, then it will be consuming the silicon from the epitaxial layer, which is very costly. We don't want this. So what we can do, we can take the silicon and the oxygen both from the gaseous phase. We can get them reacted. So when they are reacting, the byproduct is formed. What is the byproduct or what is the output? So the output is a solid output, that is SiO2. So this solid output is coming and depositing over the silicon surface. So this was my bare silicon. You can see over this bare silicon surface, I am not consuming any silicon over here, and we are forming the SiO2 layer. This is the advantage. Okay, so let's see in detail what is the difference between the CVD oxide versus the grown oxide. So if I have the grown oxide, the only oxygen is coming from the gaseous phase. But in the CVD, both oxygen as well as silicon are coming from the gaseous phase. So what is happening? So here I am not getting silicon from the substrate. I am not consuming silicon from the substrate. But when I am growing oxide, so in that case, the silicon is consumed from the substrate. In the CVD, silicon is not consumed from the substrate. So what is happening in the CVD? If I have bare silicon, over the bare silicon, the SiO2 layer is going to deposit. So it is going to deposit on the substrate surface. Okay, here we are getting the silicon from the substrate also getting consumed. So oxide grow inside the silicon. Okay, so silicon is getting consumed, but here we will be having higher quality because most of the impurities are present on the surface only. Okay, so when oxygen is going and penetrating inside, so the silicon layer is shifting, its interface is shifting downside with the SiO2 formation. So now we are getting a high quality layer because all of the impurities were present on the upside layer where we have SiO2 now. Over the silicon we won't be having any impurities, so it will be of higher quality. On the other hand, CVD, despite having a lower quality, it is having some advantages as well, like it is occurring at a lower temperature and we are getting a higher growth rate. Okay, so this is a very big advantage of CVD. So coming to the applications, we are having various applications of the dielectric thin films also. So we can have multi-level metal interconnections. We know we can have various level interconnections. And why we have various level interconnections? When we are increasing the complexity of our IC, we will be having the multi-level interconnection that we can form with the help of the dielectric thin films. Okay, we can form the CVD and SOG plus CVD dielectrics. We can form the shallow trench isolations, STIs. I am going to show all of these things with the help of diagram as well. So we can form the side wall spacer for salicide, okay, for lightly doped drain, and also for the source or drain diffusion buffer. We can form the passivation dielectric above the surface so that it will not be getting affected with the outside environment. We can form the dielectric ARC for the feature size which is lesser than 0.25 micrometer. I am going to show you the ARC as well. Okay, so it is used for the interlayer dielectric, which is also known as ILD, which is composed of two things, PMD and IMD. PMD is pre-metal dielectric, and now it is normally made of phosphosilicate glass and borophosphosilicate glass, and the temperature is limited by the thermal budget over here. We can form the intermetallic dielectric as well, which is IMD. Okay, I said that ILD is composed of PMD, which is pre-metal dielectric, plus IMD, intermetal dielectric, which is formed of undoped silicate glass and the FSG. So now it is normally deposited at a higher temperature, which is 400 degrees Celsius. So you can see we have this is the layer which is ARC coating. Okay, now we have, this is the PMD or ILD1 layer, this is the ILD1 layer, this is the PMD1 layer, this wall is the side wall spacer, right? Then we have this, the shallow trench isolation. This is my tin CVD. Okay, so for the metallization, so here I will be having the tin CVD at the corners, the dark blue layer. Then we have the tungsten CVD inside. Okay, so this is my via fill. Okay, after that we have the IMD or ILD2. Then this is the passivation dielectric layer, okay, to protect it from the environment, and then this is my passivation dielectric layer 2. Okay, so both of these layers are protecting my IC from the environment. Otherwise, there are many reactive gases present in the environment which can go and react with the surface of the IC and make it degraded. Okay, we don't want that. So overall, what are the dielectric processes? So how many dielectric processes are required? What are them? So dielectric processes are the various processes of the formation of dielectric thin films in an IC, right? So whenever we are forming a dielectric thin film in IC, we are getting a single dielectric process. Okay, so if I have n layer metal interconnection IC chip with the shallow trench isolation as well, then how many dielectric processes would be there? So one dielectric process would be for shallow trench isolation, one for side wall spacer, one for PMD, and -1 processes for IMD, and one for passivation dielectric. Okay, we can increase also, but overall the minimum requirement is n+3 dielectric processes. Okay, now coming to the CVD. CVD stands for chemical vapor deposition, that we all know. So chemical gases or vapors are reacting on the surface of the solid, produce solid byproduct on the surface in the form of thin film. Other byproducts are volatile and thus they are leaving the surface. So when two gases are coming, they are reacting, they are forming a solid output, okay, which is going and depositing as a thin film, and we can have some other byproducts as well which are volatile and they are leaving the surface. Okay, so this is basically my CVD. So there are various applications of the CVD. So we have the silicon polysilicon layer formation, the epitaxial silicon layer formation. We can use the precursor as silane, dichlorosilane, trichlorosilane, as well as siltate for the polysilicon deposition as well as the epitaxial silicon deposition. Okay, so now we have the dielectric formation as well. So we can form the SiO2 layer with the CVD, we can form the oxynitride layer, we can form the silicon nitride layer as well. Okay, so we can use the various processes in the CVD. We can use the low pressure CVD, we can use the plasma enhanced CVD. There are various precursors. Okay, for SiO2 we can have silane and oxygen, we can have silane and N2O as well. Okay, for PECVD we have that EOS as well as O3. Okay, so these are all the reactants that are required, or the precursors that are required for the formation of SiO2. Okay, so we can form it with the help of TEOS as well, and we can use the TEOS plus ozone as well. This is a very common compound that we use. Why? I am going to tell you in detail when we are going to talk in depth analysis of the CVD. So coming to the oxynitride, for the oxynitride we requires the silane, N2O, N2 and ammonia as the precursor. Okay, for Si3 and 4, for nitride we are going to have silane, N2 and ammonia. For PECVD, for LPCVD only silane, N2 as well as ammonia is required. For LPCVD we require the BTBAS. Okay, we are going to talk in detail about them. Then we can form the conductors as well. We can form the film of the tungsten silicide, the titanium nitride, the titanium as well as the copper. Okay, so we can use the various precursors like the tungsten hexafluoride, silane and H2. Okay, so we can use the TDMAT plus TiCl4 as well. Okay, so now coming to the CVD, how this process is happening, what are the all steps that are required in the CVD. Okay, so first of all we are using the gaseous or the vapor phase precursors, right, that I have already told you. Whatever precursors we are using, that are either in the gaseous phase or in the vapor phase. So the gaseous or the vapor phase precursors are introduced in the reactors. So now after that they go across the boundary layer and then they reach the surface of the wafer. Okay, so what is the boundary layer? It is the nearmost region of the wafer. I am going to show you the boundary region with the help of the diagram as well. So now when the precursors are crossing the boundary layer and they are reaching to the surface, they are getting adsorbed on the substrate surface. We are going to talk about the adsorption also in detail in some upcoming video. So when the precursor are adsorbed, then they migrate on the substrate surface. Okay, now on the substrate surface we have the precursors. Now the chemical reaction is going to happen. Okay, so when the chemical reaction is going to happen, we are going to form a solid byproduct. The solid byproduct is going to form a nuclei. Okay, the nuclei is present on the substrate surface. The nuclei are then combining and they are growing into the islands. Now islands are also combining and they are growing into the form of continuous thin films. So first of all, what we are forming? The solid byproducts. The solid byproducts are also termed as the nuclei, and the nuclei are combining and forming the islands. Now the islands are combining and they are forming the thin film. Okay, we can have the other gaseous byproducts also. These gaseous byproducts has to dissolve from the substrate surface and the gaseous byproducts diffuse across the boundary layer and they go out of the reactor. And this is how we will be getting a film grown on the wafer. Okay, so you can see these are the precursor. Okay, so we are sending the precursors. Okay, this is called the shower head. So we are getting the forced convection region over here. Okay, we are sending the precursors with the pressure. So this is called the forced convection region. Okay, and here this is my pedestal. Over the pedestal we will be having the wafer, and here we will be having this boundary layer. This blue layer, sky blue layer, is the boundary layer where the reactants are coming. They are reacting, having the chemical reaction to form the nuclei, and After that, a thin film is grown over it, and after that the byproducts are leaving from the boundary layer. Okay, I hope you understood this process. So this is how the deposition process will be looking like. So this is how the precursors are arriving the surface. They are migrating on the surface, they are moving over the surface, and then we are having some other precursors as well. They can react over the surface, and this is how they can form the nucleation, okay, or the island formation. Okay, so this is how the islands will be growing. So you can see these are the various islands that we have. So again, if this process is continuously repeated, we are going to merge the islands. All of the islands are going to merge, and after repeating this process for a longer duration, we are going to get a continuous thin film. Okay, so this is how I am going to end this session. I hope you understood the CVD process in detail, and if you still have any doubt, you can refer these books. These are really amazing books. You can refer them, and I hope you like this session. If you like it, please push the like button, subscribe to the channel, and also do share it with your friends. Thank you so much.